Good morning. Welcome back to the Junior Small P channel. Yesterday I was in a discussion with a close friend of mine, and he was able to relay to me some recent discoveries he's made, thoughts he's having as he dwells on a lot of the issues we discuss here on a routine basis, and goes very deep into the history and the path that humans are on right now, society, governments. And I want to share with you, I'm not going to disclose who he is, but I'm going to share with you the conversation and just some of his insights that he had. I wrote them down because he was texting them to me, so I've got them clearly here, as a lot of this conversation was in text. Now, as you know, this channel has received a share of censorship from YouTube, and that's not going to stop anybody. It's not going to stop us. It's okay. Let them try it. Let them do it. I would imagine they will attempt to do so to this video as well. 2 videos ago, I was immediately notified after, I believe, 900 views that the video was being demonetized and being reviewed by YouTube as to whether or not I was going to be able to keep it up. And you can watch it. I didn't say hardly anything at all. I showed merely some images of certain individuals that are operating in today's society. So let's get right to the text here and read the discussion we had yesterday, because I was really looking forward to sharing this information with the viewers of this channel. Bottom line, the left-right spectrum is an obfuscation of reality. The true spectrum is anarchy, individuality, to slavery, collectivism. Socialism and communism are not organic inventions by poor Bolsheviks. They are the brand name of human subjugation as it develops under any condition or timeline. The Bolshevik Revolution was paid for by the currency controllers. The pillars of communism serve to redistribute wealth, but not to the populace, away from the populace. Warburgs financed the Soviet Union. It's not natural. Standard Oil financed Nazi Germany. It's unnatural. Rockefeller financed Kaiser Wilhelm eugenics, which turned into extermination program. All the same people, all currency debasers. The 13 colonies broke away from the monarchs. The monarchs were under the controllers. The controllers lost influence of the colonies as they traded. The controllers funded both sides of the Civil War, World War I, World War II, etc. They have been using the debt, non-gold backed system to co-opt the entire Congress and have succeeded in debasing the dollar and taxed 30%. They will now dump the dollar. They have transferred their profits into gold and will create a new blockchain digital currency, which they can debase again, but this time all transactions are recorded. There will be no bank runs because they can turn currency on or off in real time. It's the end of free will. You will never again be able to purchase the provisions to resist en masse. This is the last opportunity during our lifetime. And if there's a war, it only serves the controllers. They come back in afterwards and clean up who's left. They are leaving America anyways. They are refocusing on the East now. They don't care what happens to us. They are nomads with no home. In the U.S., they run directives through the CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations. The CFR has many members in each cabinet going back decades. One of these members is a Nicholas Berggruen. His IG espouses communism. His wiki page places his public net worth at over $1 billion. I'll spell it out. It's all from Dr. Quigley's book, Tragedy and Hope, 66. He was a professor at Georgetown and Harvard and was permitted to observe the Round Table, which is the predecessor of the CFR. Quigley noticed nothing nefarious of the group and recorded their business over long periods of time, and then published the book years later without realizing he was writing an account of currency controllers. The book got noticed post-publishing, and the printer destroyed the plates, but it had already been widely circulated. They are the reason for everything going on. Deep state, mass surveillance, gun law, the Arab Spring, the creation of tax-free foundations, the creation of internet by DARPA, the development of Google, the Federal Reserve System. They are the reason there is no rule of law, the reason communist Antifa comes out of nowhere, the reason BLM had any media traction. They co-opt everything because they own the banks, which collect interest on loans, sales of bonds, and dividends as the private shareholders of the Federal Reserve. The control of currency allows top-down influence because the entire nation is dependent on the system for money. The true harvest is not taxation, but the value that all people insert into global economics as they are subjected to a central system. If they increase currency supply, they collect the reward through the relation between their banks, the Fed, and the Treasury. Then they export the liability into the global markets. The humans that engage in free market economics are only a fraction of the system, but are vital. Without the public storing their human energy in the currency, it is worthless to counterfeit. They have given the signal of the economic hyperinflation event through RIT, Rothschild, last month. It is nearly identical to the warning they gave in 1929 through the Warburgs. RIT moved all of their stuff into gold in the last 3 years. In 1929, the message was sent out in May, the crash in October. I will paraphrase part of these closing portions here. I have to calculate the different scenarios regarding resistance. It will surely mean certain death, and the death of loved ones, maybe family and friends. The first step is to warn and predict, and attempt to stop the fighting community from civil war post-crash. After that, I can't say, because all of these communications are intercepted. There are no lists. They watch everything as it develops. That was the close of much of the conversation that we had. And it goes along with a lot of the information that we've covered here on the channel over the course of the last several years. And hopefully it gives you guys a better understanding of my dislike, my disdain for central banking, central controllers, and the ruling elite that are collected there at the top and orchestrate many of the events that we see, much of the smoke and mirrors, the false flag events, propaganda, the rouge that there is actually a two-party system when you and I know that really both parties are on the same team and they're both means to the same end. They exist merely to give us the illusion that we have choice, that we have some form of a say in the direction we are going in. When in reality, it doesn't really matter who we vote for, who exists in the seats of government, because ultimately the real controllers are not elected, and they are the puppet masters of anyone who holds public office. You know, everyone always wonders, well, what happened to that individual? We voted for him, now he's in office, and now he's not doing the things that he said, or he's not behaving the same way. Well, it's because they got to him, or they, the entire time, controlled him. And he just said what needed to be said in order to get your little measly vote. So we're going to close this video. Hopefully you guys can carry on the discussion below and ponder these things, think of them, go off and do some of your own investigation and reading. And just know that it's up to all of us to continue to hopefully spread the message of what's going on in the world so that we can somehow rebuild out of the ashes of whatever these maniacal people, whatever kind of damage they are going to inflict on society. And I wouldn't be surprised if this video is pulled or flagged, demonetized by YouTube, attacked somehow, or even if you have difficulty commenting. It's amazing at what lengths they will go to in order to squelch information and keep all of us from knowing what's really occurring. Alright, have a good day. Thanks for being part of the Junior Small P channel. Thanks for viewing it. and being part of the discussion.